Good afternoon. The Verdin Community Facilities District Board will convene prior to the start of today's formal City Council meeting. I would like to call to order the first meeting of the Verdin Community Facilities District Board of Directors. This has been a long time coming, nearly 5 years, as the landowners, the developer, and city staff have worked diligently and collaboratively toward creative solutions related to public infrastructure needed to serve the community, as well as finding ways to respect the natural environment where this unique community will take shape. The Verdin project sets a new bar on water use efficiency and has partnered with the National Wildlife Federation to establish a first-of-its-kind design guidelines. Additionally, the Verdin is the first development to participate in a unique funding policy adopted by Council to complete the Sonoran Desert Drive Scenic Parkway that will connect Northwest and Northeast Phoenix, two very vibrant areas of our city. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Board Member Guardado.
Here.
Board Member Hodge-Washington.
Here.
Board Member O'Brien.
Here.
Board Member Pastor. Board Member Robinson.
Here.
Board Member Stark.
Here.
Board Member Waring. Vice Chair Ansari.
Here.
Chairwoman Gallego.
Here. We have one item on today's agenda, Resolution V-01. This resolution covers the appointment of the district board members that will be comprised of mayor and council, approval of the district general plan, and authorization of the district development agreement related to financing and operation of the district, along with other items related to administration of the district. Can I get a motion to approve resolution number V-01?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge-Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Stark.
Yes.
Waring. Ansari.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Thank you. This Verdin Community Facilities District Board meeting is now adjourned. We'll next turn to Police Chaplain James Williams for the invocation.
Mayor, council, and staff and guests, please bow your hearts with me. Most heavenly and gracious Father, Lord, I so appreciate the beautiful day and thank you for the opportunity to pray for our mayor and council of our great city. Lord, we lift up the mayor and the council members to you. Lord, they are precious and willing individuals that share their talents and leadership with our great city. Lord, I ask you to draw the mayor and council close to you and grant them your wisdom as only our Maker could do. Lord, we ask that you lean them in making wise decisions to align with your will and your plan. We ask that you fill our city leadership with understanding, discernment, and knowledge. Grant them favor and draw them close to you, allowing them to know and understand your full purpose. Lord, I ask that you put a hedge of protection around all of our city leaders and their families, keeping them healthy and safe. Additionally, I ask the same protection for all of our city employees, fire, and police, and that their families will be kept healthy and safe. Lord, we thank you in advance for your leadership, support, and love extended to all of our city leaders. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Please remain standing and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chaplain. We'll now call to order the formal meeting of the Phoenix City Council. Will the city clerk call the roll?
Councilwoman Guardado.
Here.
Councilwoman Hodge-Washington.
Here.
Councilwoman O'Brien.
Here.
Councilwoman Pastor.
Here.
Councilman Robinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Stark.
Here.
Councilman Waring.
Here.
Vice Mayor Ansari.
Here.
Mayor Gallego.
Here. We have Mario Barajas and Carmen Cota with us to provide interpretation. Mario, would you please introduce your team?
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, my name is Mario Barajas, and together with my colleague Carmen Cota, we'll be serving as today's Spanish interpreters for our City Council formal meeting. I'll now take a moment to introduce ourselves to our Spanish-speaking audience. Hola, buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a la reunión formal del Consejo Municipal. Mi nombre es Mario Barajas y junto con mi colega Carmen Cota estaremos sirviéndoles hoy como intérprete a los de habla hispana. Deseamos pedirles de antemano, si es que van a dar un comentario público, por favor, hable despacio, con claridad y evite tener distracciones de fondo. Finalmente, pause después de cada una o dos oraciones para que le podamos interpretar lo que esté diciendo de la manera más completa posible. Muchas gracias. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mario. Will the city clerk please read the 24-hour paragraph?
The titles of the following ordinance and resolution numbers on the agenda were available to the public at least 24 hours prior to this council meeting and therefore may be read by title or agenda item only. Ordinances number G 7177 through 7180, S 50234 through 50276, and resolution 22157 through 22164.
Thank you. Will the city attorney please explain the role of public comment in meetings?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the public may speak for up to 2 minutes to comment on agenda items to be discussed. Comments must be related to the agenda item and the action being considered by the council. General comments that go beyond the scope of the agenda item must be made in the citizen comment session at the end of the agenda. The City Council and staff cannot discuss or comment on matters related to pending investigations, claims, or litigation. Additionally, any member of the public who appears before council in their capacity as a lobbyist must, as required by Phoenix City Code, disclose this fact before addressing council. The City Code requires speakers to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language, threats, or personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. A person who violates these rules will lose the opportunity to continue to speak.
Thank you. Item number 1 is meeting minutes. Councilman Waring, do you have a motion?
Move to approve the meeting minutes for January 6, 2021.
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Item number 2 is boards and commissions. Vice Mayor, do you have a motion?
Motion to approve mayor and city council boards and commissions nominations.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. We have a small but mighty swearing in today. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, David Sholiday,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of the office of Phoenix Aviation Advisory Board,
discharge
the duties
the
of,
duties of the Phoenix Aviation Advisory Board
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, Commissioner. Thank you for serving our city. Mr. Shiliday is an expert on aviation sustainability and advanced aviation vehicles, so we are excited to have him on our Aviation Advisory Board. We next move to the liquor license portion of our agenda. The City of Phoenix provides an advisory role to the state of Arizona on liquors licenses, noting that we do have individuals available to speak if necessary on 8 and 18, both in favor. Vice Mayor, do you have a motion?
Motion to approve items 3 through 24.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Stark. Waring. Ansari.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
City Clerk, are we ready for ordinances, resolutions, new business, and planning and zoning?
Yes, Mayor.
Motion to approve items 25 through 87, except the following. Items 29, 42, 43, 45, 46, 49, 70, 85, 86, and 87. Can the clerk confirm if there is any items that should be excluded for in-person public comment?
Yes, Mayor and Vice Mayor. Also, items 39 and item 41. That's 39 and 41.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or corrections? Roll call.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Stark.
Yes.
Waring. Ansari.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
We next move to item 29. This is a day one priority for Councilman Robinson, where he's been working on it long and hard along with our city staff. I will turn to him for a motion.
Mayor, thank you very much. And for everyone's information, most of you probably know this particular area from 56th Street, from Thomas Road all the way up to Camelback, it is a very well-traveled area. Joggers, a little bit of bicyclists, a little bit of everything, a great deal of traffic. And this 56th Street right-of-way improvement will provide a safe space for those joggers, for the bicyclists, for their families, while keeping the road open, wider and open for cars. And I'm excited to see it completed. This property acquisition is an important step in getting the project off the ground. So I'd really like to thank staff as well as the neighborhood for all the work that has gone into this project. And I'll make a special note. Besides staff did the heavy lifting, obviously, but to the Arcadia-Camelback Neighborhood Association. They've been in on this from the very beginning, put in a great deal of work. And so with that, there's still much more work to do, but I'm excited to move to get this whole thing started. And with that, Mayor, I move to approve item number 29.
Second.
Motion and a second. This has also been a priority for our streets director, and this will be Keeney's last council meeting, so I also want to say thank you for your leadership on so many different projects and moving our city to a better transportation system. Any additional comments? Roll call.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
I would like to make some comments real fast. My answer is yes. I just wanted to thank Keeney Knutson for his service to the city, and good luck in your next opportunity.
Robinson.
Yes.
Stark.
Yes.
Waring. Ansari.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Wonderful. It's a big day for transportation. We also had some very important votes related to the airport that have passed, among others. We next move to item 39, Enterprise License Agreement for GIS Mapping. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve item 39.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We have 3 members of the public to comment. We'll begin with Denise, followed by Jeff.
I just would like to let you all know that this is a complete violation in our Fourth Amendment rights, surveillance on citizens, and before you would go to vote to make this be approved, I would strongly consider that you think twice. Surveilling us and putting up cameras all over the place is against our rights, and we didn't elect you to do that, and nor do I want you to use my tax money to turn around and surveil me. So I would please ask you to consider your vote on that.
Thank you. Jeff is next, followed by Leslie.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. So ESRI is the leading surveiller in terms of geospacing. And so we don't know what is in the contract because the contract was not included on the agenda. So what they have the capability of doing is tracking people. They have the capability of doing facial recognition. They have the ability to do biometric data collection, geofencing, location identification, and all of these types of things violate our Fourth Amendment, especially geofencing. And they also have what's called GeoAI, which cities and police departments have predicted where crime is going to increase and have sent extra police officers to that crime before it happens. So I strongly recommend that you do not use GeoAI to predictively arrest people like Minority Report. But the agenda states that the ESRI software products are currently being used in public-facing applications, which includes the manager's dashboard and open data site. Well, those are the only two things that are mentioned, but that means that there are other public-facing applications that the city is using ESRI software for. The contract also states that the people who use this have access to all of the software in the agreement. And so this is extremely frightening. This company has been around since 1969. They are the leading geospacing space company. And so I highly urge you to vote against this. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker on this item is Leslie.
I'm going to pretty much be reiterating what the two first speakers spoke about. The fact that it is against the Fourth Amendment and that it's even on the agenda is, sadly enough, not that surprising. Obviously, Mayor, you know how I feel about you. I think you're a world economic sellout. People might think you look real cute and you're real sweet, but I know that you're selling us out big time. When they have surveillance, when they make it, I don't know if you guys knew this, but downtown on Monday, they had the exact same agenda item. So down there at the legislature, they're sitting there talking about this stuff. Literally, they're going to know you, identify you, assess you, and then call in to say they think you're going to cause a crime. This is the stuff that's going on right now. It sounds like, oh no, that's a conspiracy theory. Just read the details of it. It's in plain print. It's not a hidden thing. And then just across the street at the Board of Supervisors today, same thing. What's happening is we really are being sold out to the World Economic Forum. We have certain people that are involved with it. Little Miss Kate Gallego over here is one of the leaders in all that. And so I'm definitely saying, because of the Fourth Amendment, do not let this pass. I'm not sure if Mrs. Washington and Mr. Robinson were also, that week when you guys were all up there and you were away, were you guys also in New York with Kate? Are you allowed to say that? Or is that something going on in court? Maybe if I provoke you, if I give you I guess only if you get criticism, are you allowed to respond? So I think I'll criticize you to see if you'll respond. Are you guys also a sellout to us like Kate? Were you going to sell us out for a little bit of pocket money? Just remember, the military's paying attention to all this. There's stuff that went down that was filed on the 18th of August that most people aren't telling you about. It's in the common law court. It's not the administrative courts. What they're doing is selling us out.
Any comments? Roll call.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson. Yes. Stark. Waring. Ansari.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 8-1.
Item 41 is the 2024-25 Housing and Urban Development Consolidated Plan Annual Action Plan process. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. We have one member of the public to comment, Diane Barker.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm in District 7. I'm supporting this item. It's the first time I've actually seen on your housing where you have HUD involved. And I'd like to see in the next year, I understand there'll be a final report coming out in May of 2024. But at these public hearings, I'd like to see some representatives from San Francisco, HUD down here. Actually see what happens in Phoenix, see the conditions. For too long, we've had Phoenix be isolated, particularly with vendors that come in here, and they don't know our conditions and how hot it is. And we have increasingly, my father had said to me years ago that Phoenix is a depository, you know, really for homeless because of the conditions, the weather that is so severe, you know, in the winter. So we may be having more homeless here this winter. And I am looking forward to us having new models for affordable housing. I really think that this idea that America has grown with everything bigger is better, you know, bigger cars, bigger appliances and all that, we're no longer that America, and we need to wake up and make models that are usable, that are smaller, get the appliance industry to build smaller type of utilities and things that aren't so dependent on high energy costs. And so I'm looking for this. This is supposed to be collaborative. The country, the area, and Phoenix should be involved in this movement for better, affordable housing.
Thank you. Comments? Roll call.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Stark.
Yes.
Waring. Ansari.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Items 45 and 46 are related items. 45, what? Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Item 42, purchase of golf merchandise for direct resale to the public. Vice Mayor.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson. Stark.
Yes.
Waring. Ansari.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 8-1.
Item 43 is the FY 23-24 Bioscience Healthcare Strategic Initiative. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
We have a motion from the Vice Mayor and a second from Councilwoman Stark. Today is a very big day for health and bioscience jobs in the city of Phoenix with multiple items. This one is an exciting partnership that has helped us become #1 in the nation for bioscience job growth. Our team in community economic development and our partners from AZ Bio to our universities and companies have done a great job with business attraction. One recent success is Arencia, a German clinical research company that does very advanced support for clinical trials and came to our community, and that came out of this effort. We have identified 26 very promising prospects, the majority of them international, including several that Councilman O'Brien and I met with overseas this summer, and I'm looking forward to supporting this item. Any additional comments? Roll call.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
I'm conflicted.
Sorry. Robinson.
Yes.
Stark.
Yes.
Waring. Ansari,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 7-1.
Items 45 and 46 are related to the Downtown Enhanced Municipal Services District. Item 45 is the budget assessments and set public hearing date, and item 46 is the assessment diagram. We will have 2 votes, but hear them together. Vice Mayor.
Move to approve?
Second.
Second.
Can I point of?
Councilwoman.
So we do separate votes? Should we make
Yes.
a motion separately then?
Oh, I'm sorry. One vote is fine.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good to have a veteran of the city to help. We do have Diane Barker here to speak, and then Devony Marley and RJ Price available if necessary. So we'll begin with Diane.
Okay, hello again, Mayor and City Council. I'm in support of this enhanced fund or project. Last evening, I was with the Roosevelt Action Association, and we were discussing South Roosevelt, of which this enhanced district covers some of that. And, you know, there's a lot of development going on. We discussed not only that how shade is necessary, and I know that, for example, the Downtown Phoenix Partnership is putting in trees. We need that. The enhancement of these different areas. I look towards Adams Street, it's the mouth of the convention center, being something very gala and renowned in the world someday. So I'm in favor of this, but I want to call your attention. You know, we have like a building that was put up, a very big one. I took a tour of it. I think it's Avenue 5 or whatever. And when that was discussed for development, we were going to have a paseo, a crossing that goes clear from 7th Avenue or 6th Avenue over to ASU. But now there seems to be some development that says they don't need to go by the paseo. And so this was in this enhancement area, and we need to get out the plans. If there was a deed for this, I understand that preempts everything. I'm not a zoning authority, but we need to keep that paseo. That was sold on an idea of a walkable, biking, and a community of downtown, not just a bunch of buildings and a dinky sidewalk. Thank you.
Thank you. Devony and RJ, we're good? Or all right. Roll call.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes, I would like to hear about the paseo later, but yes.
Robinson, Stark,
Yes.
Waring, Ansari,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 8-1.
Item 49 is Series 2023 Single Family Mortgage Revenue Bond Program. Vice Mayor.
Move to approve item 49.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. I'll turn to the Vice Mayor for comments.
Thank you. I just wanted to applaud the IDA for being a wonderful partner in this. We all know that buying a home in Phoenix is becoming more and more unaffordable, and the average home price is now over $285 per square foot, which is more than double what it was 10 years ago, while wages have not grown nearly as fast. This program in particular will help issue more than $200 million in bonds to low and moderate income home buyers, and that's a solution that I think is a big part of the puzzle. We also need to build more housing, make it easier to build more affordable and attainable housing, and work to increase wages. So really excited to support this today, and props again to the Phoenix IDA for their support.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hodge Washington.
Mayor.
I also wanted to congratulate and thank the IDA for being a valued partner in this. Similarly, I agree with Vice Mayor. The $200 million in bonds for for low and moderate income individuals to help them to attain housing is part of the tools that we need in our toolkit to help recognize and address the critical need that we have for families here in Phoenix. So I too am proud to support this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 3 members of the public here to testify. We'll begin with Denise, followed by Jeff, and then Leslie.
So it's interesting that this item was also on the Board of Supervisors' agenda this morning as well, and I'm going to tell you the same thing I told them. First of all, how are you going to select the people that are going to be able to get these particular home loans? Does anybody know the answer to that question? So we don't answer questions? Okay, so we don't have an answer to that question. So then the government gets to select who takes these home loans, but I'm going to go back to my original thing. The government doesn't belong in our lives. The government doesn't belong in our finances. The government doesn't need to give us house loans in any way, shape, or form. This happened with student loans back in the day. You see where that got us. And I think that this is, once again, a large, giant overreach from the government. Oh, thanks for looking at me.
Jeff is next, followed by Leslie.
Mayor, council members, my father is a loan officer. He's a branch manager in the mortgage industry. So this is actually extremely frightening because what this plan does is it allows for the city to undercut and attract people to a loan that is not always available on the open market at the current moment. Stiefel also said that the average percentage of the loan is going to be about 1 to 1.5% lower for people who take advantage of this program than what is on the market. So the government is going to come in, they're going to offer loans to people at a lower rate, they're going to give them better advantages that the market doesn't have. I understand the incentives that you folks read off. I agree with your sentiment, but it is going to cause a shift from the market working properly to the government growing. And RFK Jr. actually just said that he wanted this plan implemented across the entire United States if he was the president, to offer it to all citizens, not just the less fortunate. So what is going to happen is exactly what Denise said. If this grows, the government is going to become the only one in the market to offer loans for houses. It is going to continue to grow as people are going to be priced out of the market. So this is going to completely disrupt how the market works. I strongly urge you to vote no. I understand the sentiments of those who spoke in favor, but it's going to actually help increase the housing costs. It's also going to, over time, lead to the government being the only one lending for houses, which is what is happening now for college loans. They're 99% of the college loans. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Leslie will be our final speaker.
Anything that grows the government is negative. Now you guys are going to allow them to come in and be the loan officers. People do not realize how much the government, we the people, are supposed to be the ones with the power. And what we're doing is we're allowing them to take the power and do it right here publicly, acting as if they're doing something that's helpful for us, and it's not helpful for us. What Jeff said about how it's going to affect the private market, it's 100% true. What Denise said is 100% true, is you guys look down and act like you're busy doing something. It sure isn't listening to the constituents, because you've already made up your mind how you're going to vote this. We're just here to put it on record to let you know you guys are going to be held accountable in the very near future for the ways that you are not upholding your oath. Your oath is to serve, protect, and defend. We heard one happen right in front of us. Domestic interference is included in that. And when you sell out your company, or your country, I should say, for your little back pocket deals, you're going to be held accountable one day. I ask that somebody up there, somebody, please identify. The government should not be a bank. Thank you.
Councilwoman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mayor. Lori, is Titus here, and could he please come to the table and answer some of the questions that were just posed by our speakers?
Yes, Mayor, Councilwoman O'Brien, Titus is coming up to the table and will be able to answer questions. And in addition,
Lori,
Deputy
we can't
City Manager.
hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
No.
My apologies. I'll lean forward. Titus is coming up to the table and he would be able to answer those questions.
Thank you so much.
Mayor, members of the council, Councilman O'Brien, this is a down payment assistance program that the Phoenix IDA is working with the Maricopa County IDA as well. And I'm going to defer to Juan Salgado, who's the CEO of IDA, who's present here with me, to talk more about the program.
Thank you.
So, Mayor, members of the council, Councilman O'Brien, I would like to introduce Juan Salgado. He is the CEO of the Phoenix IDA, which is an affiliate of the City of Phoenix. This item before you, which is for single-family mortgage revenue bonds, this is a program that existed in 2012. We are bringing it back. It's the Home in 5 program. What's before you today will be able to add additional funds for this program so that we can increase the amount of affordable housing that is available to our residents. So with that, I'll turn it over to Juan to specifically answer the questions by council.
If I may, I'm just going to comment on the items that were mentioned today. This is not a government program. This is a program.
We can't hear you. Can you put it? Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me now? Sorry about that. I haven't been up here in a while. Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. Again, Juan Salgado. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the Phoenix IDA. So we are a issuer that's participating in Maricopa County to provide this program that's being asked of you today. As a housing finance authority, we are presenting a program that will provide lower cost financing for not only first-time home buyers, but people who live in targeted areas. So this program is available to anybody that qualifies. We have over 100 lenders that are participating in the program. So we will continue to market the program to all people in the Phoenix and Maricopa area. So it's not government taking loans or anything related close to that. This is a market program that the lending community is very excited about because it creates another opportunity to provide financing to all home buyers. As all of you know, we have been involved in providing down payment assistance for many years. Since 2007, we've assisted over 25,000 families throughout Maricopa County acquiring homes through down payment assistance and lower cost financing. So this just creates another opportunity, and this opportunity was presented to us only because interest rates continue to rise. So we had not issued bonds in the past since 2007 or 2012 because the interest rates have been low. But as they continue to spike, this is an alternative that we've pursued to essentially, again, try to keep rates down as low for first-time home buyers as well as those that are interested in seeking loans in designated areas throughout Maricopa County.
Juan?
Yes.
So I want to just make sure we're really clear on this. Does the Phoenix IDA or the Maricopa IDA, are they lenders of this money?
Councilman O'Brien, members of council, no, we are not lenders. We're merely the conduit issuer that is passing through the opportunity for lenders to participate. The lenders in this the people providing the loans are mortgage lenders. That if you look at the Home in 5 website, you'll find a list of all the lenders that are participating in the program. Ultimately, the lenders, as they do, as a standard course of business, will put these loans together in what they call mortgage-backed securities, and then they'll sell them to investors who ultimately are the people that are providing the financing for these loans. So this is a standard product going through a normal course of business in the mortgage business.
And if I were able to go to that, sorry, I have a couple more questions, Mayor, I'm sorry. If I went to that website, could you name off a couple of lenders that I might find on that list?
Councilman O'Brien, members of the council, now you stump me because I don't deal with this program every day, but I think if you look at the website, you'll recognize the mortgage lenders. Typically, these programs that we offer are mortgage lenders that are in the business every day. We don't get a lot of participation from the large commercial banks because this is not a product that they have been focused on over the years.
Okay, and when you said that there are the qualifications that people meet, one of them was first-time home buyers, right?
Yes.
And as we've talked about many a time here on council, it is getting more and more difficult to be a first-time home buyer in Phoenix given the rising price of our homes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So if I may comment,
thank you so
Councilman O'Brien and members of the council, because it is a tax-exempt program and it involves in issuing bonds, this program has restrictions that are supported by tax laws, and tax law requires that those residents, prospective homeowners that are buying loans outside the designated area become our first-time home buyers. And the first-time home buyer qualification is that you have not been a homeowner for the past 3 years. So we also will continue to offer our programs for those people that are moving and are not first-time home buyers so that they can continue to have alternative products within the market. Their interest rates will be a little higher, but they'll still have opportunities to seek home ownership. Obviously, the challenge we continue to have is the availability of housing stock at low cost. You heard the mayor mention the average amount of loan that's taking place. It's just gotten very expensive for anyone to buy a home in this environment.
I appreciate the additional clarification.
So if I may, Ginger, like always, helps me out. She just provided to me the list of mortgage lenders that are listed on the Home in 5 website. I'll mention it's Man Mortgage, Weststone Mortgage Corporation, Cross Country Mortgage, LHM Financial Corporation, Bank of England, Neighborhood Loans, Nations Lending, VIP Mortgage. So in the website, you'll find the loan officers and local contacts that can be contacted for additional information.
Thank you so much.
And Mayor and Council, if I may add to what Mr. Salgado just mentioned, so there are several other lenders that are on the list as well, but those were just a few examples. Recently at the Economic Outlook, basically the economists had mentioned that locally right now, the average mortgage rate for housing for new homes is around 8% on average, and that's up from 3%. So programs like this will help bring that down and make housing more affordable for individuals, especially with this first-time home buyers.
Thank you. We'll go, Councilman O'Brien, is that all your questions? We'll go
yes,
next
Mayor. Thank you so much.
to Councilwoman Guardado and then Councilwoman Pastor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much, Juan, for those clarifications. I just know I know how the program has worked in the past. I know there's a lot of people that live in my district that have definitely benefited from being able to be homeowners, and we know that nowadays it's incredibly difficult to be able to buy a home. I know there's a lot of families that buy a home, and hopefully their goal is to be able to use the home to be able to send their children to school. It's the American dream that people come and follow when they come to this country. But can you just explain a little bit how have people who have participated in this program in the past benefited from the program? Like, how is it that this has helped them, from, maybe 10 years ago till now, how people have benefited from it?
Obviously, the biggest challenge for most people, particularly young people, in accessing a home is down payment assistance. Many people don't have the resources to do that. So over the years, we've created an opportunity to provide that down payment assistance. And over the years, it's gotten more supportive of meeting those needs. What started out originally as a 3% down payment assistance, in some cases we go up to 7% down payment assistance, and then also have explored other opportunities to make it easier for home buyers. And the important thing here is that we are not compromising credit quality. We're providing an opportunity for folks to become homeowners and share that American dream you talked about. I'd also like to say that the program that we've been involved with, and I would say since 2007 that we really revved that up again, our delinquency rate in these programs are less than the national average. So when people buy in these homes, they're there to stay. And so we've not had any issues with credit quality or the type of loans that have been made. And the important thing here is that, as Ginger stated, I mentioned a few, we have 135 lenders throughout the county that are participants in this program. So home buyers have choices. We also work closely with realtors in markets like your district, Councilman Corrado, to let them know about the program, as well as mortgage lenders. So our outreach is important, and so we are constantly out in talking about the program and making sure that folks are able to take advantage of these resources.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I know that in District 5, we have a lot of people that can't wait to see this program roll out. They are looking forward to being able to buy a home. In my district, they want to see more single-family homes being built there so that they can buy a home, so that they can send their children to school. I think it's incredibly important. So thank you so much, Juan. Thank you to the AA for all of your guys' hard work, and to be able to making sure that our constituents are able to live that American dream. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Pastor.
Thank you. There were some statements made, but what I want to understand and ask is, as the Home in 5, as a teacher, I would qualify as a Home in 5 if I made $49,000 annually. That's the program we're talking about, am I correct?
Depending on the income, if you're looking at some numbers over there, yes.
Yeah.
But again, it depends on the mortgage loan amount and which includes the size of the house.
I'm looking at what is on IDA, the Home in 5 Advantage program, and I wanted to see who qualified. And where I'm looking at, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, it's available to 12K teachers, first responders, U.S. military personnel, veterans, and income-qualified individuals who earn up to $49,000. And is this the program we're speaking about, or am I looking at a different program?
Councilwoman Pastor, it's good to see you again. Members of Mayor and Council. The program you're referring to is the Home in 5 Advantage. Okay. What we're talking about today is the Neighborhood Platinum, which is the tax-exempt first-time home buyer program. Okay. The program that you're describing is still in effect. So that program, even though the interest rates will be a little higher, we do provide benefits for the target market you identified, for teachers, for first responders, for military, for folks at low income, of an additional 1% down payment assistance.
Okay.
So that program will still continue and to be marketed.
Okay. I guess my question is, what will qualify me for this program?
Councilwoman Pastor, if I'm looking at the website correctly, and Juan, let me know if this is accurate. It says that the minimum borrower has a FICO score of 640, annual income up to $138,600, debt-to-income ratio of 50%, and they must occupy the home as principal residence within 60 days of closing, and they complete a home buyer education. The homes must be located in Maricopa County. They must be do a new purchase, no refinancing, no existing houses, condominiums, or townhouses, and purchase is not limited. And to your point earlier, Councilwoman Pastor, in terms of who it serves, according to the website, since 2012, 24,877 new homeowners across Maricopa County, $191 million in down payment assistance, $5 billion in total home loans, and they do cater to or acknowledge the fact that they support community heroes, which consist of first responders, K through 12 teachers, veterans, U.S. military personnel, and income qualified individuals.
The reason why I'm asking the question is because the question was asked by the public, what are the qualifications? And so I want to be very clear that there are qualifications part of this program in order to receive any type of assistance, and then be able to outline who can apply. So that's the reason why I was asking about the qualifications. There was also another statement about market lenders. So we are those that are part of the program, these banks that are on the website, they are market lenders.
Yes.
Okay.
Councilman Pastor, Mayor, and members of council, all the lenders are mortgage bankers per se and are in the business of lending. We do go through a qualification process, and they do need to meet standard guidelines, and all of these are active in today's market.
Okay. And I'm just, because I heard comments and heard the public, so I want to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence. And the fact that it is part of the market, so this program is working properly in the sense of it's not going to affect the market working properly. We are part of the market, or this program is part of the market.
Councilwoman Pastor, Mayor, and council members, this program was developed primarily to address market conditions with rising interest rates. Our interest always is to work within the market to build sustainability, to work with standard products, and address those items that are keeping prospective homeowners from buying the marketplace. Program is very popular. As I mentioned, we have 130 some lenders that are active in the program. Obviously, like always, we have a handful of lenders, but this is an enhancement to what's happening in the marketplace today. It by no way impacts or negatively impacts anything that the mortgage companies or mortgage loan officers are doing in the program today.
So basically, it's helping, I want to say teachers get into a new first-time home, or if they had a home and lost it, or for whatever reason it was not sold it and now wants to get back into a home, this will help with some of their financing in order to lift them up and be able then to purchase a home and qualify for that home and be able then to pay their rent.
Councilman Pastor, Mayor, members of council, yes, this not only helps teachers, but any prospective borrowers that qualify that are interested in looking into home ownership. An important factor, two things I also want to include in my comments, these programs that we're involved with do require home ownership counseling, which is a very important component, particularly for folks entering the market for the first time, to make sure that they understand the process that's involved, and more importantly, if things happen and hiccups in the process, they know where to turn to for help. And then secondly, We'll continue to remain flexible and work with market conditions. Our objective is to provide an opportunity for people to at least have a choice in the financing world to provide home ownership. We can't control the cost of housing, as not all of us are concerned about, but this is just an opportunity that we're creating for people to at least address the impediment of the higher cost of financing.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And Juan, just to confirm, we have 2 programs to help homeowners. We have the existing Home in 5 program, and then today we will vote on the single-family mortgage revenue bond program. You will have an event in the next week or so to start launching it.
Mayor, members of council, that is correct. We continue to provide a number of products that will assist home buyers. This is just an additional one that we're asking for, but because we are an issuer requesting tax-exempt financing or a mortgage revenue bond, we do have to come before council. The other thing I want to mention is that this is at no cost to the city or taxpayers in regards to any of the financing that's taking place.
Wonderful. And I should say you have more than 2 programs.
Yes.
But 2 related to mortgages, and then we've worked with partners such as school districts and nonprofits and more to try to finance much needed affordable housing. Roll call.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Stark.
Yes.
Waring. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Congratulations. We next go to item 70, the U.S. DOT Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods Grant Opportunity. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second. We will go to Councilwoman Guardado.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'm very excited to support this item today. I want to thank our street transportation and government relations team for working diligently on this federal grant opportunity. Over the past few years, I have been working hard to support safe, connected communities across my district, especially in the heart of Maryville. I was proud to attend the groundbreaking ceremony last month of our Grand Canal Scape Phase 3 project, which will create a walkable connection from 75th Avenue to 47th Avenue along our canal. It will include a new pedestrian bridge, activate hog lights, lighting, shade enhancement, and many other improvements. I was also excited to work with our Street Transportation and Parks and Recs Department and the Office of Heat Mitigation to create a walkable cool corridor on 55th Avenue between Camelback and Indian School. This project has included over 200 new street trees, a new walking and jogging path, as well as a new cool pavement and speed reduction infrastructure. Today's item is also an exciting grant opportunity from the U.S. Department of Transportation. It will bring an additional $6 million in federal funds to continue planning for pedestrian connection in our Maryville community and does not require us to match any funding. I am happy to support today's items, and I'm excited to see how we can continue to work to create safe, connected communities in Maryville. Also, just want to take a moment to thank Keeney for all of his hard work and everything that he's done for our residents in District 5. I know we've worked on a lot of fun projects together, Keeney, so not very excited to see you leave, but at the same time want to wish you the best in your new adventures that you have coming up for yourself. So congratulations on your new adventure, and very happy to be able to support this item today. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. It's exciting. These are votes that 4 of our councilwomen have been working forward to a long time. Councilman Waring.
Mayor, I don't think this comment is going to have anything to do with this particular grant. It probably will remind Keeney of why he's retiring and going somewhere else. But I couldn't help when I was reading through this grant. It talks about reconnecting communities by removing, retrofitting, or mitigating highways. I guess Keeney, if you have an intern or something somewhere, I'd be really curious. I want to hear about all the highways or freeways that this particular department is getting rid of. That's the kind of thing that just makes people look at their government and think we're all a bunch of idiots. So I guess I would just appreciate, when I see this, I shake my head, because anybody reading this might think, oh God, are they trying to get rid of a freeway in Arizona? Which one? So you don't have to come up, Keeney, it's all right. But it's actually a serious question. I would be curious, because that's what apparently is a stated goal of this thing. It's not the goal of what we're voting for here, but I see that and I just shake my head. So I'd like to see the list of all the highways and freeways that they've gotten rid of over the years, and how I think the residents probably felt about that in the affected communities. I certainly hope they're not planning on here and getting rid of ours. We keep trying to build more, rightfully so. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Any comments? All right, we have 3 members of the public to testify. Denise, Jeff, then Leslie.
First of all, thank you for your comments, because that's kind of how I feel. I lived in New Jersey and New York City, and that's where there's a lot of pedestrians. I don't see pedestrians here like I see there. And I can promise you that in Manhattan, which is like 2 square miles with, like, I don't know, 30,000 people in a few blocks, they didn't take out roads in order to accommodate pedestrians. So this feels like one more bit of overreach from the government, and it feels like one more bit of, I don't know, that committee that Gallego sits on, the WEF committee that she sits on. This feels like one more bit of that 15-minute city nonsense in trying to get rid of roads and promise to make the parks and the walkways nice for people, you know, tugging at those heartstrings a little bit, if you will. We don't need to get rid of any roads. If anything, we need more roads, because we have enough traffic here going through this city, and there's plenty of land to build more roads on, not be getting rid of roads. So again, I'm asking you not to vote to put this through, because this is one more ounce of overreach on your behalf.
Jeff, then Leslie.
Mayor, council members, I know we're not supposed to be off topic, but the last agenda item, Maricopa County is the entity issuing the bonds.
Jeff, for public comment, that would be perfect.
I know. Detroit is a city that removed a highway. So it has happened. And that happened in September of 2022. So this money is being used to remove highways. Even if it's not your intent, it still has strings attached to it. And I highly encourage you to somehow tell the federal government. I know we touched on this at one of the public meetings few times ago. You guys have lobbyists, and so you guys should lobby the federal government to stop funding removing highways. We obviously need to expand the highway on the 51 width-wise. And, you know, it's a little tight when you're winding through the 51 going south and north. There's a lot of wrecks on there. It causes a lot of backup when you're going to connect to, I'm still trying to learn my highways, the one going to Los Angeles on the 51. That's how I have to get here from my house. I use, you know, the MapQuest stuff, so I get told where to go. I moved down here during the lockdown. So yes, there is history here, and it is very concerning that this is actually attached to this funding. I'm really discouraged that we have to talk about this today. Thank you.
Leslie will be our final speaker.
I'll wait till the public comment part to bring up the bonds that were overlooked in that last agenda item. Okay, according to the agenda notes, this program aims to fund projects that want to remove a migrating highway and other transportation facilities. The city should not go after this grant because of the strings attached. The City of Phoenix should not be removing and migrating highways or other transportation facilities. Highways and transportation connect communities. Highways and transportation allow for all of us to get to the City of Phoenix meeting in a timely fashion. It is completely absurd to believe that highways create barriers in communities. I'll just wait for public comment to elaborate on what was overlooked when those people lined up there and said some stuff and convinced you to apparently vote for it.
Thank you. Roll call.
Guardado,
Yes.
Hodge Washington,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Robinson, Stark, Waring, Ansari,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
We will welcome our planning and development team down. Items 85 and 86 are both in the Mayo corridor. These are, I think, legacy programs for many of us, including Councilman Waring, who has been working to bring high-wage jobs and good health care to his district since he got here. And we will have 2 separate votes, but 1 series of reports on these, and are certainly very excited to see this move forward. We'll begin with our Rosel Escolar to present.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council members. Items 85 and 86 are related cases. This exhibit shows the Desert Ridge specific plan area in the red boundary. Desert Ridge Super Block 3 is on the lower right there of the screen, which represents item 86. I'm sorry. Super Block 3 is in the black dash boundary, which is the subject of item 85. And the area outlined in blue on the lower right corner there of the screen is item 86, the proposed Mayo Clinic PUD planned unit development. This portion of the project, the PUD area, is actually within the Paradise Ridge planned area rather than Desert Ridge. Item 85 is a request to amend the Desert Ridge specific plan text for development parcels 3 CPBP1 and 3 CPBP2 to facilitate the Mayo Clinic expansion, including integrated clinical practice, education, and research, as well as the creation of a new Discovery Oasis, biotech, and healthcare corridor. Again, the dashed black outline on the bottom right of the screen is Super Block 3, which includes both the 3 CPBP1 and 3 CPBP2 development parcels. This area of the Desert Ridge specific plan covers 417.63 acres, generally located south of the 101 freeway, east of 56th Street, west of 64th Street, and north of the Reach 11. The proposed regulatory framework for Super Block 3 is split into 3 development parcels to accommodate long-term growth of the campus. In general, 3 CPBP1, the yellow area on the map mostly north of Mayo Boulevard, will allow additional height, floor area ratio, and uses under the enhanced standards that are outlined in the proposed amendment. The development standards for 3 CPBP2, the olive area on the map south of Mayo Boulevard, will remain the same. There are specific design standards and stipulations added to ensure the area is generally consistent with the 3 CPBP1 development parcel. The applicant is proposing to create a new development parcel, 3 CPBP3, for the ASU Health Future Center, the purple area that's delineated on the map. It's currently part of CPBP 1. The proposal here is to retain the existing standards. In the specific plan, no changes are proposed. The Desert View Village Planning Committee recommended approval per the staff recommendation by a 10-1 vote, and the Planning Commission recommended approval per the Addendum A staff report by a 6-0 vote. And staff recommends approval per the Planning Commission's recommendation and adoption of the related ordinance. And Mayor, if I may continue on to item number 86. Okay. Item 86 is a request to rezone 76.76 acres located approximately 530 feet south of the southwest corner of 64th Street and Mayo Boulevard. The subject site is vacant land zoned R118 with approved Commerce Park zoning. It's a little hard to see on the screen there, but the green text represents the approved zoning. It is primarily surrounded by vacant land, except for the ASU Health Future Center to the north and the Mayo Clinic Hospital campus to the west. East of the site is vacant land and the city lift station, zoned R118 with approved R18 zoning. Further east is a single-family residential subdivision with approved R16 zoning. And to the south is the Reach 11, and beyond that is the Central Arizona Project Canal. The Desert View Village Planning Committee recommended approval per the staff recommendation that was contained in the Addendum A staff report. This was by a 9-2 vote. And the Planning Commission recommended approval per the Addendum B staff report by a 6-0 vote. Staff recommends approval per the Planning Commission's recommendation and adoption of the related ordinance. This shows the conceptual layout for the entire area and shows what the area could look like at build-out. The blue outline that you see there on the lower right highlights the proposed PUD area. And finally, these are the conceptual renderings for the project. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Wonderful, thank you. Any questions? Thank you to the Planning and Development Department, CED, and everyone who has worked to make today possible. This is also a win for the state of Arizona, who have been our partners on this project. And it's exciting to see it move forward, adding approximately 2,000 new high-wage jobs and representing an estimated $250 million in capital investment just in the Discovery Oasis portion. And that is in addition to the amazing hundreds of millions of dollars of investment on the existing North Phoenix campus. We will have a 10-minute presentation and, or a presentation up to 10 minutes, and we'll introduce Nick Wood.
Mayor, members of the council, Nick Wood, Snell and Wilmer, 1 East Washington Street, and I represent Mayo Clinic. Since Mayo Clinic is, as we all know, one of the finest providers of medical care in the world, it is truly a privilege for me to represent them, particularly with respect, as you mentioned, Mayor, a legacy project such as you're considering tonight. I'm not going to go through a presentation. I mean, basically, this project may end up being 6 million square feet or more of development. As a result, as you understand, it's a very complicated set of applications and probably has about 1 million moving parts. For example, your council packet has 555 pages tonight. We represent 325 of those pages. I think the important thing to recognize is, Mayor, we don't get here tonight without your leadership, without your guidance, as well as with Councilman Waring. From the staff standpoint, I just want to recognize the incredible efforts of Chris Mackey, Alan Stevenson, Josh Becknerick, and his staff have been incredible to work with. Eric Froberg and Chris Kowalski in Streets. We spent untold hours together working through this, as I mentioned, very complicated project, but it is going to be a legacy. So, Mayor, with your permission, I will invite to the podium Dr. Richard Gray. Dr. Gray is the president and CEO of Mayo Clinic, and I guess he's my boss. So, with your permission, I'll invite him up. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Mayor and council members. It's extraordinary to be here, and Mayo Clinic is extraordinarily enthusiastic about our continued growth and investments in the city of Phoenix, and we are especially enthusiastic about creating a world-renowned biotechnology innovation hub here in Phoenix. And I want to also express my thanks to Mayor Gallego for your vision and your leadership in getting to this point, to Councilman Waring for your unwavering support and guidance along the way, and to City of Phoenix staff. We are in the right place at the right time to have an incredible impact on the future of healthcare through this project. We are in a city that is a top-growing biotechnology attractant, and we at Mayo Clinic feel incredibly fortunate to be here in this city at this time with our incredible talent pipeline as well. And that will allow us to create an ecosystem of innovation that will span discovery science to next-generation diagnosis, to cell and gene therapy, to theranostics, to healthcare technology that will be incredibly impactful. And by spanning these broad capabilities, it will produce even more innovation that will help in the transformation of healthcare that Mayo Clinic is trying to lead in the United States and finally make an impact on affordability, access, and health disparities. But this type of transformation requires collaborations, and this project will allow those collaborations to move that transformation forward quicker than any of us can do alone. We're already engaged with top prospects, and we look forward to advancing this initiative thanks to the support of the City of Phoenix. In the years ahead, when people think of where is healthcare innovation coming from, I expect that all eyes will turn to Phoenix and to Discovery Oasis and be impressed with what we planned here today. So thank you all for your support. Thank you for your vision, and we do expect that this project will leave an incredible legacy for the City of Phoenix, for our citizens here, and for Mayo Clinic, and most importantly, for the patients of our city and everywhere that will benefit from the new solutions, technologies, and cures that will come from it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gray. We'll close the public hearing. Nick included many thank yous that I should have. I would also add Mario and Keeney, who spent a lot of time on this project. The Phoenix IDA has been major partners of Mayo, and it's been a close to citywide effort to get us here today. So all who worked on it, Claudia and more, very much, where's Claudia? All right. Oh, there's Claudia. Thank you. Thank you for everyone who's been working on this, but a particular win for the District 2 team, so I will turn to Councilman Waring.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. I don't want to be redundant, but I want to echo your positive comments. Dr. Gray, it's a privilege to have you in District 2, but I'm more of a regionalist. Scottsdale benefits from this. District 8 benefits from this. All of Phoenix benefits from this. I always use the word amenity. That isn't really the right word, but I'm not sure what would fit. We're fortunate to have you, and I hope when we can be helpful, I hope that that's apparent, that we are grateful to you for doing what you do. Probably a lot of people can do what I do. Probably a lot of people can do it better. I know for a fact there aren't many people who can do what you do. And so for you and your staff and everything, all of whom have been terrific in my 12 years on the council, we're just really blessed to have you. 15-minute drive from my house. But I think anybody who needs health care in Arizona really benefits from that. This is, your brand name may not be as well known as Coca-Cola, but it's up there. And that's saying something because it's not easy to cut through the clutter of day-to-day life. But when you hear the words Mayo Clinic, people know what that implies. They know that wealthy people and celebrities and so forth have always flocked to Rochester, Minnesota, to your facility there. People know that. And now we have that in North Phoenix. We have a great area for growth up there. Obviously, anybody who's ever been to Desert Ridge or Tatum Ranch, they know the quality of life that's there. Probably a lot of your staff lives there. But we are, at least I personally am very grateful that you're there, and I know how much that can benefit and improve the quality of life for residents. So thank you for that, and please keep doing what you're doing. Very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. I would also add that many of us on the council this week spent time around the issue of cancer in our city employees, particularly our firefighters, and many of them have got excellent care at Mayo. It's such a huge impact for our residents, and so we want to thank you for that excellent care. We also appreciate, for an entity that wasn't born in Phoenix, how you have embraced sustainability in our desert landscaping and a gorgeous natural campus that is a good welcome for people who visit Mayo from all over the world and may get their first impression of Phoenix at the Mayo Clinic. It is doubtless a very positive one. With that, do we have any council comments before we go to the two motions? All right, Councilman Waring, item 85.
Move to approve item 85.
Per the Planning Commission recommendation and adopt the related ordinance, I'll second it.
That's what I meant. You got it.
Roll call.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Stark.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Ansari.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Item 86, Councilman Waring.
Move to approve item 6 per the Planning Commission recommendation and adopt the related ordinance. There, Deb, are you happy?
I'm very happy, second.
Well, planning director here, you just always so just detail oriented.
Roll call.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Stark.
Yes.
Waring.
Yes.
Ansari.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Thank you all. A great day for the health and job prospects in Phoenix. We next move to item 87, consideration of citizen petition by Elizabeth Venable. We have 4 members of the public to speak on this item. We will begin with Jeff, followed by Leslie.
Mayor, council members, so I fully support you guys adopting this petition. I realize that the staff stated that there are certain pieces of information that would give away personal identifying information, and they also said that MAG holds on to requested points 1, 4, and 5. But Mayor Gallego is the chair of MAG, so, you know, we have the information. So, you know, we need to know how our tax dollars are working in terms of reducing homelessness and helping homeless people. And if homeless people are being helped, or if it's getting worse, if we need to make changes, you know, adapt to the environment. So there are ways that we can get information that redact personal identifying information, and then also get the information from Maricopa County Association of Governments. I just see that the staff recommendation is kind of sidestepping, attempting to bring forth the information that we need as the public to see if our tax dollars are working. And it is very concerning to know that homelessness has increased every single year in Maricopa County, especially in Phoenix, since 2016. We don't have the data from the lockdown, so I assume that it skyrocketed then. And then we have homelessness deaths increasing every year. So in my interpretation of the news, our dollars aren't being used in the proper manner or wisely. Possibly government waste. I don't know. Maricopa County has spent $100 million on homelessness over the past however many years. But I highly encourage you to amend and adapt and adopt. Thank you.
Thank you. Leslie is next, followed by Denise.
Amend and adapt is definitely the theme that I would think would go with this one. I was almost contemplating not speaking on this because I'm not understanding how the mayor of Phoenix is also the head of MAG, and we're voting on something that is such a conflict of interest. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. I enjoy looking at your profile, Miss Mayor. It'll come in handy one day. Thank you.
Denise is next, followed by Elizabeth.
I'm sorry, but I have to reiterate the same thing. I feel like it's a conflict of interest that you, Mayor, are sitting on the council. You're the chairwoman of this council. And I actually am calling for you to recuse yourself from either that seat or this seat or the WEF seat that you sit on that council as well. Because in my mind, on the WEF, that's selling out American citizens. We didn't appoint or elect the WEF to do anything in our lives. So that's the first thing. And this is a conflict of interest because this has everything to do with our tax dollars. It has everything to do with humanitarian crisis that's happening in our own streets where people are living in tents, dying in streets, overdosing, feeling helpless because they're homeless.
Elizabeth is our final speaker.
I get most of my information not only from data that's released from various government sources, but also from first-person testimonies that are generally told to me in confidence, although I do refer them to other people when I think they're serious. And what I've heard a lot when I go down to, for example, the place that used to be the zone, or the sort of quasi-zone as it is, I hear an 80% placement rate, but I don't hear an 80% success rate from the people I talk to. And I hope you know that over the past, say, 5 years, I've talked to at least probably 600-700 people that are living on the streets of Phoenix. So it's quite a big sample. And so what I've heard is that, number one, sometimes people find the placements too restrictive or inappropriate. Many leave after or during the first day. And that's not, they go straight in back. And then also they're being dispersed out to the neighborhoods that are around the zone, you know, just as a side effect. But we need to see also in the second part, and you can redact data, and you could really simplify, get rid of any identifying data, simplify the categories into what I said was voluntary and involuntary, and make an assessment as to whether they chose to leave or whether they were told to leave based on whatever reason there is. Because we need to have metrics for appropriate governance, even in the issue of homelessness. These are constituents, and they deserve the same and appropriate treatment as other people and should have appropriate placements.
Thank you. Council comments. Councilwoman Pastor.
Mayor, I support this citizen petition, and I will tell you why. I support it because I've been asking for the last 3 or 4 years, maybe 5, the same type of questions, and developing the metrics that we needed in order to know how movement of people or migration and where they are, and really our success rate. And I wouldn't even call it a success rate in the sense of, yes, we're able to get them into shelter, but for me, a success rate is really independence. And I know that's a large goal, but how do we get there? And so I support the citizens petition in order for us to have that conversation and get to where we need to get to. I get the same answers of we have this type of database and this is a common database, but I think there's a way to be able to protect and the client or who we're serving, and be able then to use the raw numbers to be able to make decisions, logical decisions on what we're being asked. So I would like to make a motion of recommendation of number 1.
Thank you. We'll go to the Vice Mayor and then Councilwoman O'Brien.
Thank you. First of all, I do want to commend Ms. Venable for her interest in this issue. I do think getting proper data is valuable. So could the team provide a little bit of information about what we are currently making accessible and what more you think we can do to fulfill some of these requests?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. We do have a brief presentation that goes through it. Would you like, we were going to go through that and talk about each one specifically, if that would be okay, or we can abbreviate?
I think that would be very helpful just to have a good basis of knowledge and discussion. And Councilwoman, if you have a clarifying question.
I do. I made a motion.
And she didn't get a second. That was my.
Okay. I think we can
have a discussion.
We can hear the presentation.
Mayor, so we have, there has been a motion made and we do not have a second. So just wanted to make sure the record's clear that we would need a second before we were able to vote on that or move forward.
We have a motion and a second. We can still hear the presentation. Let's hear the presentation.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Rachel will run through the presentation, and before she starts, I want to acknowledge the tremendous interest, and rightly so, in what we're doing and what the outcomes are. And so we're committed to providing that information and as best as we can, and I'll have Rachel go through the presentation.
Mayor and members of the council, the petition asks for several data points related to the city's engagement efforts around the Human Services campus, and more specifically, the individuals that have been engaged and accepted offers of shelter or other indoor services during our engagement efforts. There were 5 requests in total. First, for the locations of where each individual who accepted a shelter or other indoor placement in terms of name. Second, the number of constituents that have been transported to each individual facility and the location of those facilities. Third, the number of people that have accepted or rejected offers of shelter at each of our engagement efforts. Fourth, the length of stay of individuals at the facilities if they accepted, broken down as you see on this slide: less than 1 day, 1 to 7 days, 8 to 14 days, 15 to 21, 22 to 28, and over 1 month. And lastly, the final request was the reason provided for individuals originally accepting shelter and then exiting indoor placement, and a sample of those are included on this slide as well. Regarding the first request, the city is not able to release client-level data or any personal identifying information for clients to the public. This includes client names and the locations of where clients accepted services, which would be their current residence. This is not only a violation of city policy, but also our agreement as it relates to Maricopa Association of Governments, who oversees the homeless management information system. We cannot release client names nor where they reside to the public. The petition requested the number of people that were transported to facilities as a result of our engagement efforts. This aggregate information is public. The information has been shared in aggregate with the public, and Office of Homeless Solutions will include this information in the monthly general information packet moving forward. And also included in the packet today was the number of engagement efforts at the time the report was submitted, which was 9. It is currently 11, as well as a list of the locations that people have gone to by percentage. The petition requested the number of people that have accepted or rejected shelter during our engagement efforts. This information has been shared in aggregate with the public, and OHS will moving forward, include this in the monthly general information packet as well. The petition requested the length of stay information for people who have accepted shelter during the engagement efforts. The city's in the process of compiling data from all of the efforts thus far, where people are now, be it if they are still in shelter, if they have moved on to housing, if they are now in an unsheltered situation. We can also include the length of stay in this data as well, and we plan to present this data publicly in December. And finally, the petition requested the reason people have stated that they have left or exited shelter. Again, OHS is working on aggregate data that would include this information, all of the exit data from people who have initially accepted shelter and who have exited, or if they are still in shelter. And again, we plan to make that information public in December. We're working with MAG currently on getting that finalized and going over any data quality issue that we have. And again, it changes every week when we have an engagement effort as well. So our options today, as presented in the report, were to approve the citizen petition in part by directing staff to provide additional requested information that can be publicly shared through the regular reporting process, or to deny the citizen petition because that information is already publicly available, while other information is with other agencies or personal identifying information. And the staff recommendation today is to approve the citizen petition by directing us to include that aggregate data and any information that can be publicly shared.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
I think this looks good. I guess is the publicly shareable information the only piece that you all were concerned about, like the privacy issues, or were there any other concerns that you had?
And if I could, real quick, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and I asked Rachel if we had the opportunity. This is a great opportunity to talk about the client level data specifically, and kind of the issue of redacting the name and being able to release that data, and why that still falls under what our agreement is under the Homeless Management Information System.
Okay.
Yes, Mayor and members of council, we are not able to redact information at that client level at all. We are required to present that information publicly in the aggregate.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think it's important we discuss with domestic violence victims and other specially protected populations, address can be very sensitive, and that privacy is really a safety issue in addition to following several laws. I would say for me as a member of this body, having data by provider is very helpful. We want to put more resources into the programs that are working, and we want to support those who are helping people navigate out of homelessness, so that data can be very helpful. Councilwoman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mayor, very much. I also agree with getting additional information. This is something I fought for when we were talking about the Human Services campus. And this, to me, is some baseline information. I believe there's additional information that we need to be looking at, especially for longer term related to recidivism. So while I support the staff's recommendation, I would hope that we also, as a council, could work more closely on what other types of information could be provided. As you just stated, by provider, not by location. It's too sensitive to have addresses out there, most certainly, but additionally to defining what success is, and there's success at different levels, I think, but ultimately the long-term success is important. How many folks are staying out of or off the streets for longer periods of time, or how quickly are they ending back up there, so that we can look at what is working and what is not working. I think the other information that is helpful to have it in context is understanding why some of these people, ended up in this kinds of situations. So this is a great start, but I would respectfully ask that we don't stop here, and that we work harder to get better information so we understand truly what success is. And finally, I have a clarifying question. I didn't quite understand Councilwoman Pastor's motion. So it could either be repeated or...
My motion was to accept the citizens' petition. Obviously, we would have to adapt to certain pieces of privacy and legal, but to accept it That was my motion.
We'll go to Councilwoman Hunt Washington and then back to the Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I am also in support of the citizens petition, but I view it a little, my distinctions are a little different. I don't think it should be limited just to the outreach that we do at the zone. Homelessness is an issue we see throughout our city, and we need to make sure that our service providers are treating all of our residents in a way, and we have the metrics that can support this. So I don't want us to just stop at the engagement outside of the zone. I also think that we definitely should have a more, the council should have an input into saying what additional information, if possible, can be shared with the public, because it allows us to review our providers and determine what are the issues that we need to actually address. I agree with Ms. Venerable. We hear statistics like the 80% acceptance rate, but we don't have the data to follow through as to what that really means and how we best invest in the monies in this program. So I want to just make sure I'm clear on that, and that would be my distinction in your motion, Councilwoman Pastor, as well as I don't think we need to identify any of the placement. I think we are better off identifying something a little bit more discreet to preserve the privacy of those individuals that are being helped.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. The only thing I wanted to add was a little bit, I'd like to see more on the dashboard online. I know that's something, we've been pushing for a long time, and the website's a good first step. But if we could make that more accessible to the public and be able to provide all of this information there in a way that, is easy to understand, I think that would be very helpful as well. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Councilman Waring and then Councilwoman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mayor. So some of this touches on stuff I mentioned before. I don't think any of the requests are unreasonable. First, I'll just say the 80% accept shelter services. That touches on a hot button with me because that implies success. There is nobody in the city who's going to drive around and say we've been successful in addressing the homeless issue. Not the homeless advocates, not the people who live here, or have businesses here and so forth. There's no way. So I really wish we would never say that again. I've asked that before. There was bound to be blowback, and now even the folks who are volunteers are sort of questioning that. I don't blame them. I've heard the stories people accept services on people that I've actually called in, sleeping at bus stops or out in medians or in dangerous situations, and then they accepted services. And then when there's follow-up, well, they were there for an hour. That shouldn't even count. I don't even know how that would get in the system as well. They accepted service. That's not accepting services. So I guess I would ask first that we redefine what it is we're trying to accomplish. Just getting them to take services, that's not a statistic that's meaningful. Second, in terms of recidivism, it shouldn't be that hard to process. I recognize the same people at various intersections. I've called in some people 10, 15 times. Same people. I recognize them as soon as I see them. And I'm just a guy driving around in his car. This is an extreme example. I did have, I guess it was amusing. I called in a guy on Tuesday. He was at the median or I guess Monday. He was at the median because there are a whole bunch of people always at the median. They're not hard to find. I guess our Tahoes just drive right by them. I don't really understand that. Police headquarters is right down the street. Seems like they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing out in the median, panhandling. That's dangerous. That's not a great look for the city. There's a lot of reasons why that should be addressed right away, but I call it in. I don't really know what happens after that. Sometimes I find out if I ask. How are we going to recognize this guy? He's the guy in the median playing the violin. The next day, it wasn't too hard to recognize, same guy playing the violin again. I mean, sometimes I'm not trying to be funny. It's actually as obvious as that. We should know that he's recidivism, engaging in recidivism, and that somebody should have contacted him yesterday. If they didn't, then that's bad on us. But I have to say, I've had the same guy at the corner of 7th Avenue and Jefferson. I don't know how many times I've called that in. Once apparently he had a warrant, he got arrested. Police know him by name. We can't push one person off one corner. So I assume he's not taking services, and that's a success story because he's been standing on that same corner. I don't know how many times he wanders around out in traffic. He's wandered all around my car. I see people giving him money. within full view of the police station or police headquarters, at some point, it kind of makes me think, okay, whatever it is we're doing, we better be doing something different. I was embarrassed. This weekend I saw dear friends, so dear for so many years that I'm also very good friends with their kids, who are now adults, but I've known since they were infants. One is now a medical student at Creighton in the first year, so they thought they'd give him some life lessons, and they sent her and another female classmate to the zone to, go out, do good works. That's all great. They're from Sedona. To say the least, it was a shock to the system. They described it to their parents, who related this story to me, as it looked like there'd been a war. And then I thought about that, and I thought about, what do pictures look like? Again, I'm not trying to be funny or disrespectful or anything. What do pictures of Berlin in 1945 look like? So I went and I looked, Googled, and then looked. If you were just walking down the street down there, tell me what looks different. So at some point, we got a court order. I would suggest that we say we're going to comply and then start over. We're spending tens or hundreds of millions of dollars on this with no noticeable improvement, and a lot of reasons for people to say things are getting worse. It is marginally better down there, I'll grant that. Again, this isn't a criticism of anybody who's working on this, but the things that we're doing that are producing the data that's being reported wherever it's being reported, there's no way I could look a constituent in the straight face and say, this is better. There's just no way. So I guess at least this might tell us in some more defined way, a lot of it we're already collecting, get it in a more organized fashion, like here's what appears to be working and here's what's not. I'm sure you're going to say, we've got stuff that's working. It's got to be noticeable to people. It's too much money. People are going to ask what happened to all this money, and I don't know what we're going to tell them. I'm actually kind of worried about how that might work out. I'm not saying it's been wasted or stolen or anything. I'm just saying we better find something else. This might be one way to help us do it. Because honestly, bad on me, I guess whenever I heard people accepted services, I assumed that meant they were getting help and maybe were getting a job or something. And I come to find out all that meant is they got transported somewhere, and whatever happened after that, it probably nothing good happened. I also don't understand. It's very frustrating to me. We've got Keeney Knudsen was referenced, and he's fabulous at his job, but I've had to make excuses over the years, not for him, but he's got more vacancies in the departments that clean our streets or fix our potholes. You don't need, probably most of those folks probably don't have a college degree, the barriers to entry are less, but you do get, I believe, a pension and health care and a salary. You guys should be walking around, here, things have gone tough, lost your job, you're out here, well, here's a job application. And then if you don't want to take it, we got to have a real serious discussion about what you're doing out there. There have been news reports in the newspaper that drive me crazy. A 40-year-old female, according to the Arizona Republic, they interviewed her. Yeah, I got swept up in this, and they transported me. I was there a few hours or a day, but you know what? I'm an adult, and I don't like following these rules, so I'm out. That's not an option. That shouldn't be an option. Because you know what? The days of the 1.7 million of us kind of revolving around and trying to work around the 5,000 or 6,000, I think those days are coming to an end. A judge has said so. It's not acceptable to be destroying the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness of the people who have lived downtown, and now you're seeing it in Desert Ridge and a lot of other places where they're not used to it. That doesn't make it right that these guys have been putting up work for 36 years. You heard some of them a few weeks ago came to our meeting and just said, we don't even believe you're going to do anything to help. I think we are trying to help, but we got to be effectively doing this. And so anything that could kind of shine a light on what we're doing that might help, I think is worth doing. So Ms. Venable's right about this one. Not words I ever thought would necessarily come trickling out of my mouth, but there it is. So, there was another fella down there. He's 35, or he was 35 when he got down there. Now he's 55. He's saying 20 years nobody ever offered to help. I find that a little hard to believe. How hard are you trying to help yourself? That should be a question we should be asking, and if you're not willing to help yourself, if you're not willing to avail yourselves of us providing you opportunities, then that discussion, I think, has to go a different direction. Because the status quo makes it look like it's some sort of horrible war zone to people who aren't used to it. And we shouldn't be getting used to this. So I'm prepared to support this, and frankly, anything else that will try to help us understand what might work better. But I tried to offer some suggestions too. I don't understand why some of the folks I'm seeing, unless they have a pretty serious mental health issue, and the people I'm talking about, they apparently were coherent enough to put sentences together to speak to reporters. The reporter apparently wasn't scared of them. Why aren't they working? What's the excuse? It's not an option to just continue with what's been going on. It's crazy. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll go to Councilwoman O'Brien, Councilwoman Hodge Washington, and then Councilwoman Pastor. And then Councilwoman Corrado.
I apologize. Mayor, I would like to make a substitute motion to accept staff's recommendation regarding the citizen petition, and then to take it to our next policy meeting so that we can provide further direction to staff and identify success and data points that we want to see.
Wonderful. And the city clerk has asked me to clarify, is it recommendation 1 or 2? And I think you meant the final slide, which was the official staff recommendation. Is that
correct? The staff, yes, the official staff recommendation.
Second.
A motion and a second, and we'll go back to Councilwoman O'Brien in a moment, but just for everyone's background, our next session, October 24th, is American Rescue Plan Act update, which seems to go very well since our top priority of that funding has been around housing and homelessness, and then an I-10 Deck Park Tunnel Interstate Corridor planning study, which I think we could do very briefly.
I will not be here for that policy meeting, so I would like it on a policy where I'm present.
Okay. And then we'll go back to Councilman O'Brien for your additional, did you have additional comments or questions?
No,
Okay.
no, ma'am.
Then it is Councilwoman Hodge Washington next.
I just wanted to say, I think the discussion that we're having it stresses the importance of why we need actual data and metrics to help us make the decision. Because we often see in the news media, I was one of the people who was down there I was one of the individuals that were down there at the first enhancement, and I had my own personal interactions, but I think we need the actual data to see what are those really success, because I felt like the individuals that I personally saw may have been individuals that were receptive to the needs. But we don't have anything to track that beyond that moment of our first or our initial contact. And we are doing ourselves and the community a disservice by not following through. And I want to make sure I'm clear. I want to protect their privacy rights, but in order for us to be able to come up with a plan that works for the entirety of our city, we need to have the data. And I think that is also some of the frustration that you're hearing. At least I'll speak for myself. I feel that many times there is a lack of an actual plan on how to deal with this, and we are piecing together bits and pieces based on where we currently sit at the moment, not where we want to go. And I think that is part of the problem. And I want to acknowledge that I recognize it's a very difficult problem, and I recognize that you're trying to do the best you can with what the resources we have available, but this is something that we need to kind of shift our approach in how we're dealing with this, and I really want to stress that. So I want us to get on the same page, and I understand you're not going to be here, Councilman Pastor, but I think the sooner the better that we can address this as a council, the better, because we have as Councilmember Warren mentioned, we have a court deadline that we also have to weigh in our consideration. So I hate to add to the plate of Office of Homeless Solutions, but heavy is the head that wears the crown, and right now you guys have one of the most pressing situations in our city, and we need to come up with a more definite plan that is articulable and has goals for our providers that we can hold them to as well. So I just really want to stress the urgency of that. I want to be an ally, but it's difficult to be an ally for something that does not feel like it has an actual tangible plan. So
thank you. Councilwoman Guardado.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I agree with a lot of what has been said, but I guess for me, I just want to make sure, talking a little bit about transparency. My biggest concern is that, we always, we always say that it takes 5 tries in order, or 10 tries or 20 tries, before we're able to touch someone. As much as I do agree on accountability, like I do agree that we need a metrics that works, that we can see, and how is it that we're moving forward and how we're moving the needle. I'm also concerned, and I want to make sure that we get some assurance right now that we are going to protect the information of our most vulnerable. It's already hard to get them to commit to services. So I think if they feel that we're going to be putting out their information, I think it's going to be a lot more difficult for people to accept services. So I guess my question is, can we be assured in this meeting that we will be protecting people's information?
Mayor, members of the council, apologies. And we had, yes, we will protect people's information, and we're planning on taking an item to the Economic Development and Housing Subcommittee in the the next meeting, November meeting, to discuss data and outcomes, and we were going to look at where services are provided and a lot of those issues, and we'd be happy to bring that directly to policy for the whole council to discuss. And having your feedback today, we can tailor that discussion, what we provide for that discussion to your desires.
I think that's important, Gina. I think it's important for us to making sure that we can continue to say that we will continue to protect people's personal information. I think as much as we need the numbers and we need transparency and we need to be able to measure success, at the same time, we have to make it comfortable and easy for folks to want to come out and get the services. So as much as we can continue to repeat that we will protect everyone's information, I think that's going to be important. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pastor?
Thank you. Several comments. Elizabeth, thank you for bringing the citizens petition, because both motions to me mean the same. We're going to get to that goal. So regardless of what motion it is, I think it'll be a yes on one of them. What I want to say is that I heard 2, 3, 4 we can do, 5 we're working on, and 1 was the only one that we couldn't do. So how do we get to we can do and get to the place where what we're looking for? I don't necessarily, and legally, I agree with my council members of the fact that we don't want to put private information. I don't want to know the person's name. And I don't want to know their social security. I don't want to know their address. What I want to know is certain information so I can use that information to make wise decisions. And so I want to know on 1 how we get to yes. And if I heard correctly, did I hear MAG? There's an agreement with MAG and something else. Could you please tell me why we can't do 1, and then how do we get to it?
Mayor, members of the council, the reason we can't do 1 is because of the client names that has been requested. We can provide all of the information, and we have provided 2 and 3. We can provide 4 and 5 in the aggregate. We can provide 1 in the aggregate. And again, that is just based on the percentages of people that we've served. We just cannot provide client level data.
Okay.
All of this is information that we can work with MAG to obtain, because Maricopa Association of Governments oversees the homeless management information system where all of this data resides.
Okay, but you can pull placement of locations. You don't necessarily have to pull placement of locations of a particular, Laura Pastor went to this placement of location. I would like to know in general, Laura Pastor, you don't know I'm Laura Pastor, but person A went to whatever placement and 5 people were placed in that. Something like that.
Mayor, members of the council, what we provided in the file today has every location that people have been placed and the percentage of people that have been placed there. So when I say we can provide aggregate data, that is like every single location where people have gone and the number and the percentage of the people that we've placed have gone there.
So then we can do one, we just can't.
We cannot provide the client level data, correct?
Yes. Thank you. So we can do one, we just cannot provide the name, and I don't think that's really where they were trying to get to. But I will, thank you. So then we can do 1, 2, modify 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 we're working on. So basically we can do what's in the citizens petition with modifications.
Mayor, members of council, if I may, I think that was the genesis or the basis of the recommendation. It was to accept in part the citizen petition, but deny the portion that did speak to specific names and PII.
Thank you, but I actually wanted to accept what the citizens petition with the modifications versus staff's recommendation. That was my motion.
And Mayor, if I could, I want to also give Rachel an opportunity to clarify, in terms of client, it's client level data is my understanding, and even if and that's the piece of it, that's why it's aggregate, everything we've discussed, and is why it has to be an aggregate. Correct.
Councilwoman Stark.
If we're going to do this citywide, and I don't have a problem with that, my concern is about location of placements. For example, I have a shelter in Sunny Slope that is for families, and so there's very small children there, and they're very vulnerable, and so I'm concerned a little bit about discussing some of the locations. I also have a shelter, as you know, that houses human trafficking victims. So I want to make sure, and I understand where Councilwoman Pastor is going, but I do want to make sure we're sensitive to those issues, so that again, if we're doing it citywide, there are certain shelters that are specialized that I think we need to have a real sensitivity to even talking about where they're located.
I want just to make sure everything is legal and privacy is privacy, but we have what we need in order to make sound decisions.
And so I think that's why we should probably have further dialogue, and I support Councilwoman O'Brien's. I think we do need to have more discussion so we can dive in to some of those types of issues in a little more detail. Thank you, and thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And in rereading the packet, I am not sure that the petition specifically asks for my name and address. All right, so we have a motion on the table. It is Councilwoman O'Brien's motion. Roll call.
Guardado.
I'm sorry, Mayor. Can we just clarify the two motions?
Councilwoman O'Brien, will you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, my motion is to, sorry, I just want to make sure I've gotten it right, is to accept staff's recommendation regarding the citizens petition and take it to the next policy meeting so that City Council can provide further direction to staff.
Roll call.
Guardado.
Yes.
Hodge Washington.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Stark.
Yes.
Waring.
Mayor, I'd like to explain my vote.
Please do.
Thank you. I'm going to vote no, just because I don't totally understand why it sounds like we could basically do the citizen petition today, and then we could also have a policy meeting, well justified. I agree with Councilwoman O'Brien about that, and talk about this some more and come up with more stuff. Is that? So I'm sorry, if we pass this right now, then this passes and then we're going to add things later? That's not what I heard.
That was my intent.
Okay, so it is, so this will go forward today. Oh, I changed my vote, yes.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Thank you. We will next go to the final portion of our meeting, which is public comment, and I will turn to the city attorney to introduce that.
Thank you, Mayor. During citizen comment, members of the public may address the City Council for up to 3 minutes on issues of interest or concern to them. The citizen comment session is limited to 30 minutes. The Arizona Open Meeting Law permits the City Council to listen to the comments, but prohibits council members from discussing or acting on the matters presented.
Thank you. We'll begin with Michael Norton, followed by Mark Rodriguez.
Mayor Gallego, Vice Mayor Ansari, City Council, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. When I speak to this council, I normally talk about a multi-million-dollar project associated with constructing a park on the very long dormant vacant lot that is Rogers Ranch Park, or was supposed to be Rogers Ranch Park. Today I come to you and when I say it's a significant issue, it's not a bad issue, it's a great issue. Urban greenbelts always attract predatory birds. Scottsdale's greenbelt has golden eagles, and you can't ask for anything cooler than that. The Levine Area Conveyance Channel has hawks, predatory birds, and one of the birds that's found that channel to be a wonderful place to live is the burrowing owl, which is a protected bird. This summer, we came to you asking that you get the stinknet weed under control. When we did that, the next morning you responded promptly, but unfortunately you bladed over all the burrows of the burrowing owls that were then living on what should have been the Scottsdale, excuse me, the Rogers Ranch Park. The good news is the owls love that place and they have come back, and they've come back in bigger numbers today than before the lot was bladed. We've heard reports of 17 owls being seen on the property at one time. We have no idea how to do a census of the owls because, you know, they're cute little birds, but they're really rapidly moving and they don't like to hold still to be counted. So we just know that they're there and they're having a great time and they have come back in huge numbers. We are approaching their mating and nesting season. It's really important that we take this opportunity to do the right thing. The wrong thing is to ignore that they exist or to decide that we should eradicate them and to send out the blades once again and burrow those owls out of existence. The right thing to do is to bring applause to the city of Phoenix, to Levine, to the Rogers Ranch School, to the Rogers Ranch community, and to spend a very small amount of money to protect those birds. The burrowing owl colony is not difficult to create. It is not expensive to create. You put a fence around it, you make sure people don't go there, and then you keep the brush off the property so that ground predators don't get into the burrows. We ask that you take that action. Well, this is very shallow, but if you can't protect burrowing owls, you really should not pretend that you are capable of protecting homeless human beings. This is a very, very simple step, and I hope that you choose to take that step. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mark is next, and thank you for the card, Mark.
Welcome, Mayor Gallego. I appreciate your card. And also, I wanted to say happy birthday to you, Mayor Gallego. And I just wanted to say to you, all of you guys, to the members of the City Council, I'm preparing for Levine, and I have welcome for my card. And Mayor Gallego, you hope you enjoy the pictures and with the card I gave you. And then also, one more thing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego. Happy birthday to you. So that's it, Mayor. Happy birthday. Thank you.
Thank you. Luis is next in person, followed by Denise.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Luis Acosta. I live off of 27th Street and Baseline. I moved in 2004. What I'm going to talk about is what I've been talking about for 13 years that has gone on deaf ears. I've had Michael Johnson meet me in 2010 in my community to discuss the lack of maintenance to plants and trees. When the street was done in approximately 2005, we had hundreds of plants and hundreds of trees. However, in 2010, it was discovered the City of Phoenix lacked to put a maintenance crew on it. But more importantly, what I'm talking about, what I came here today is I went to City Hall this week and saw at the entrance the sign on what a dripping faucet will cost in years and how many gallons it will waste. It's a big blue sign there at the entrance. I will be sending each one of you council folks some emails in the next couple days where I've talked about this even with Carlos Garcia when he was councilman and met with staff. So for 13 years, I've been meeting with staff on Baseline Road to show them negligence. And if you can't maintain the corridor from 16th Street to 40th Street in reference to water, the issue is this. We have probably lost hundreds and hundreds of plants. However, these water emitters are watering nothing for more than 13 years. The point is this. I've seen Channel 8 and some of the issues with water. Yes, our lakes are full, but we're still in danger, and it's going to get worse. I happen to be a former employee of the City of Phoenix. I drove all 525 miles of the city when I was on staff. All the water emitters that water nothing. There are I was told by the city they're smart controllers, but smart controllers are used to detect leaks when the clock is not on. So you have these leaks. And that was the excuse of why they don't do any auditing of water emitters. I would encourage each one of you to go to 32nd Street and Baseline and see the trees that have been planted more than a year ago, sitting there dead. And in addition, for a decade, I've been taking pictures of trees that are being planted and being allowed to die, because the companies and/or City of Phoenix staff don't bother to ever restake. And when the stakes break, when the winds come in August, they stay broken and the trees are leaning over. The city wants to spend money on enhancements of trees, but for at least these past 20 years since 2005, the city can't maintain that. And the city wants to spend more money on enhancement on trees, something you can't afford to maintain. And in addition, trees need thinning. I don't think there's a plan in the city of Phoenix that thins trees because of the cost. Thin each tree is about $300. I would like to consider this conversation to keep going on. If ever allowed, I'd be happy to come back to talk more about this, our waste of water, for at least 6 minutes. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Watch your emails.
Denise is next, followed by Jeff.
First of all, I just, in reference to the comments made by the councilwoman that joined us on the screen, the American dream is not accepting assistance of any form from the government every time something is difficult or seems impossible to attain. It's rather seeking out and taking advantage of opportunities afforded to all legal citizens. The government paralyzes the American dream. As the councilwoman stated, this councilwoman here in the red jacket, I apologize for not knowing your name, as she stated a little earlier, that the goal is independence for even the homeless that are on the streets, and I would concur with that. And so this phase one that I'm hearing about of this homeless encampment is costing in the ballpark of $1 million, I'm hearing. And that's not exactly focusing on independence or getting people on their feet. Secondly, I'd like to address a situation that has me very frustrated, and I'm going to go back to September 18th, when you, Kevin Robinson, came to our area in Phoenix. We ran a little tiny town hall, and you promised us that you would look into items of concern addressed by the citizens. And the very next day, I reached out to your assistant, Jack Keeney, wanting to extend an invite for you to our legislative district general meeting, where we hoped that you might come and provide us the answers that you had promised us. I have not heard from anybody. I have yet to hear. I'm still waiting. Furthermore, let it be on the record that that evening when we asked, some of the citizens were very concerned about the homeless situation in the zone, and you had told us that you were going to look into the progress and the plans and that you'd get back to us. And 2 days later, I learned that you all, this panel, the city council board here, you all voted to move that encampment to yet a different zone. In my mind, that's kind of skirting the judge and what he ordered to clean it up. Not to mention the fact that it's going to take years for this new encampment that you're envisioning to even become a real fruition. So I don't know how that addresses any of the concerns. And I will just say that I feel like we were sort of being lied to that night, because I don't know how you couldn't have known that you were going to be voting on that 2 days later, not even 48 hours later. Last, I just want to remind you all of the oath you swore, because everybody seems to forget this, including the people, that all political power is inherent in the people, and government derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. Now, let me just remind you who the governed are. The governed are not us. The governed are you. You are the governed because you serve us. You serve the people. You represent us. And we are not being represented when you're talking about globalist policies, which are completely un-American. They're un-American. As I said earlier, we did not vote in the WEF, Mayor Gallego, and you serve us. You don't serve them. So I'm asking you to please do your job, because we're on to all the antics and all of the policies you want to put in place. They're globalist.
Jeff is next, and our final speaker is Leslie.
Mayor, Council, one other item that you can do is respond to criticism during this time. And Mayor Gallego, I am going to criticize you for your direction of your staff regarding public comment. I asked them for direction on where it was located, where we can only comment on 5 agenda items. They do not have that. It is not on the internet. They don't have the paper. And then they told me that you directed them to implement that policy. So I actually had more comments on different agenda items. That is, I just sat there the entire meeting not happy, putting it lightly. And I'm always courteous, I'm always kind, I don't raise my voice. I do try to stick to the agenda, and you know, I have a lot more to say. So I feel like my rights were violated, and I will also say that open meeting law says that public bodies may impose reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions. So you can limit my time, you can tell me where I can comment, which is here, and the manner, which is being courteous. But you cannot limit me on the content. It says, but any content-based restrictions must be narrowly tailored to effectuate a compelling state interest. That is in the Attorney General opinion on public comment law. So I believe that that has been violated multiple times. This is now the second meeting that I've been limited to 5 agenda items. Getting back to my comments earlier that were swept under the rug, I agreed with what they were saying regarding the bond issuance, the $200 million bond issuance of Maricopa County. I did read that they were going to use private entities to dole out the cash, but, you know, the city of Phoenix and Maricopa County are the ones issuing the bonds. That is a government entity issuing money that is then going to be funneled through private entities at a lower rate that is readily available by regular banks. That is undercutting the market. And unfortunately, you all voted for that. It's against the free market. I also can't believe that you guys own golf courses. You voted on that today. You guys are flipping golf cart stuff. Unacceptable.
Leslie will be our final speaker.
Well, I would say, Mayor, I've still not received a call from a return phone call or email. I see the side of your face. Too bad I can't see the other side, and then I can take a straight shot so I can envision what your mug shot will look like as you sit here and sell out our country. You are on MAG. You're the head of MAG. And then you're the mayor. And then we vote for things that empower MAG. Mr. Waring, doesn't that seem strange to you? Doesn't anyone up there hear that that seems strange, or are you gotten so numb to the fact that we have a situation that's totally in conflict with her position? You make some good chunk of change there, Mayor. I looked how much your net worth is, $400,000. We got homeless up the street here. We're trying to skirt an issue. You can't even bother to blink upward, acting as if somebody's speaking to you. Because you have such arrogance, you're used to getting away with things. I would ask you if it hurt your feelings when you got a divorce from your husband, but I don't think you have any. Yeah, am I trying to provoke you a little bit? I am. Because I would like you to at least return a phone call.
You need to
return a phone call or return an email.
That is personal. Please, no personal attacks. Thank you.
No personal attacks. What I'll say to you that's regarding your position on MAG. How about the fact that the DOJ is trying to interfere with our police business? We have the federal government, which is the DOJ, which is MAG, you're associated with that as well. They're coming in and they're trying to roughshod over our police department. You're the mayor. So I guess what's happening here is you're letting the federal government come in and take over our police department. You're using your position on MAG to allow the World Economic Forum to come in and enforce their 15-minute cities and all the other things. And, you know, your comments, Mr. Waring, were actually right on target about the highways. How can that, tearing them up, how can that matter? I will say one thing. I was super encouraged by the last agenda item. That is the first time when I've come here, the first time, with all the things you guys passed through, that I actually felt like you guys haggled it out for the little person. There's so much what appears to be money laundering coming through this group. It's sad. It's super sad. And as you sit there and some of you gaze off in different directions, as long as I guess I don't say anything personal to you to attack you, I guess I'm allowed to stand up here and keep talking and to be ignored. So do you think it's right that you get to be on MAG and the mayor, huh, Mayor?
That is our final comment. We are adjourned.
Female firefighters to 26, right? These are goals that we should continue to strive for to make sure that we are reflective of our community that we are serving out there. I would also like to say that